So wherever your desire is, that's where your mind will be. If you desire something intensely, your mind will be always there. Right now, you desire the cup, wrong place to be. You desire a goal, that's what you should desire when you're on the field, isn't it? Now you can desire the cup. But once you're on the field, you just desire the goal and goal and goal, nothing else. Once your desire is strong, your body and mind naturally moves in that direction, isn't it? Whatever you desire, that's where you go. If your desire falls off, then you can't keep the mind on it. You just have to develop the Isha in you. The only Isha is to score the goal. Then you don't have to worry about mental focus, that's where the mind will be. Can somebody take your mind off what you desire? Can somebody take your mind off what you desire? What you desire is where your mind will naturally go, isn't it?
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Belief Nation.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and I make these videos because in my first business, I quit on my business partner. I was making $300 a month, and I didn't have the motivation to keep going. And the thing that got me through was studying the stories of entrepreneurs who've had massive success. And I hope that in sharing these stories with you, you find a motivation to keep going. And if I'm being honest, I still need the stories for myself today too. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Sadhguru, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy.
So how does yoga help in this? See, what are the simple parameters with which the body and mind is functioning? This is a complex machinery. This is the most sophisticated machine in this planet is human body and mind, isn't it? Everything that we have created has come out of this mind. So this mind is a complex machinery, very complex. So if you do anything wrong, it will create many distractions within itself. There are certain simple ways. There is some simple technology with which you can keep your mind in a certain condition of clarity where it simply sees. That you learn to keep your mind like a mirror, it simply shows you what is there, it doesn't distort. The moment your mind gets identified with many things, now you're playing as an Indian hockey player. Now you get all distorted because now you're reading the whole history, the glory of Indian hockey, the depths of Indian hockey, everything will flow in your mind. Now you will not play the game. You will not see the game the way it is, first of all. Learning to keep the mind like a mirror where it simply shows you what is there in front of you without any distortion. Once there is no distortion, you will walk to the best of your ability, isn't it? Now you're walking on this floor, there is no distortion in your vision, you can see everything clearly. To the best of your ability you will go, isn't it? In your very vision, if there is distortion, you will unnecessarily stumble all over the place. So whatever talent you have, whatever capability you have, if it has to find full expression, your mind doesn't come in between and distort anything, it just shows you everything the way it is. So the whole yogic system is focused on this for a spiritual purpose which can also be used for the sport, that it shows you everything just the way it is, not some other way, not the way you think it is.
Rule number 2, stay motivated.
This is another concept which has made its rounds in the world, that something else should motivate you to do what you're doing. If what you're doing is significant enough, you don't need any other thing to motivate you. What you're doing is truly significant to life. Why do you need another motivation to make that happen? If you really understand and experience that what you are doing is truly important for every life around you, you don't need a motivation, life just goes on. See, does your heartbeat need a motivation to keep it going? I'm asking you. All the life processes is not asking for any motivation, isn't it? Monsoon's coming, any motivation? No, it's coming year after year because the natural process is going on. Simply like that, in you and me, life is on. What I'm telling you is, if you're doing something which is aligned with the fundamental life process of who you are, this can find a million expressions, it need not be just spiritual teaching. It can find a million expressions that what you're doing is aligned with your fundamental life process, then you will not need anything to motivate you. Simply, as a part of life, it will just happen. How much you do simply depends on how much time you invested on upgrading yourself. The problem with the world right now is, people are always trying to upgrade their activity. If you upgrade your activity without upgrading yourself, you are bound to break up somewhere. It's like you went on a Formula 1 track because you want to be on a fast track and you went with your Maruti 800. Suppose you hit the right kind of speed, all the four wheels will go in four different directions. It won't hold up. If you want to be on that kind of speed and that kind of track, you must prepare the machine. Upgradation of this one is important. If you upgrade yourself, activity will simply happen. Many people around me, many times think I'm superhuman because of the activity that I perform. This is not about being superhuman. If you explore the possibilities of being human, if you explore the possibilities of the immensity of being human, you will realize you don't have to be a superhuman, being human itself is super. So you will not need any external drive or some other inspiration. The very process of life will do it.
Rule number 3, build your trust.
If you're stupid, you can do whatever you want. You need to understand, trust does not mean somebody has to behave the way you expect them to behave. Trust means whatever they do, it's all right with you. If you come to such a state, otherwise don't use such a big word as trust. Trust means they must do what you expect them to do. This is a certain imprisonment, your trust. Trust should empower people. Trust should not limit people, isn't it? So your idea of trust is to hold them in the way you want them to be. So you trust, betrayal, this, that works. Don't get into all this nonsense. Just use your sense. See, this is the biggest mistake they have made. They always told you to be good. Once you're good, you have all these expectations from everybody else. See, first of all, they told you God is good, God is compassion, God is love, God is so many things. Leave what other people have told you. Let's say you know nothing of this nonsense from anybody. You paid attention to creation. You looked at a flower carefully. One thing you can see is, whatever created this is of tremendous intelligence, isn't it? Yes or no? Not necessarily something as pleasant as a flower. You pay an attention to an ant that's crawling around. The way it's made, incredible intelligence or no? Yes or no? But nobody told you God is intelligence. If they had told you God is intelligence, we would have had a more sensible world. So, don't get into all this trust business. Handle your life and relationships sensibly, because these things will create expectations which no human being can fulfill. And simply, struggles will happen, endless struggles will happen. Trust means, I trust somebody means, whatever they're doing, I trust them. No, I trust them means they must do only what I expect them to do. This is not trust, this is a soft imprisonment, you know. It's still not come to India maybe, but everywhere else, they got collars for the dog, electronic collars. No more chains. The dog will be right there, it'll never leave the boundary, because if it crosses that boundary, there'll be a shock. Okay? In America, it's become very common. It runs around only in your garden, it won't run anywhere. No fence, no chain. But the dog cannot run out because if it steps out… Why are you making faces? It's called Lakshman Rekha in India. If you cross that, there'll be trouble. So that's what she's talking about in the name of trust. If you cross it, there'll be trouble. Don't get into this dog tag kind of trust. If you really trust somebody, whatever they do, they may be doing it in their own understanding of life. Everybody is working according to his intelligence and his understanding, isn't it? Yes? Right now, probably that's all they're capable of. If you can evolve them to another place, fantastic. If you cannot, then you must see what to do. But do not bring in such words of trust. Trust should not become a way of capturing people. Trust should be a way of liberating people, isn't it?
Rule number 4, wake up before the sun.
The greatest predicament that a human being faces and the greatest tragedy that human beings are going through and the greatest struggle that all humans seem to be toiling with is just this. Their sensory perception gives one-sided perception. If you see this, you can't see this. If you see light, you can't see darkness. If you hear sound, you can't hear silence. So, life becomes a heap of opposites or contradictions. Trying to wade their way through these contradictions, how much suffering, unbelievable. How much confusion, how much struggle. If this nearly 8 billion people, if you document what kind of suffering they're going through in 1 year or in 1 day, just 1 day, it's enough for eternity. All this is simply because they have misunderstood instruments of survival or as instruments of knowing. You must know which is light and which is darkness if you want to walk through this. You must know which is man, which is woman if you have to operate in the world. So these differences are very one-sided. Well, in many ways I've said this, now it's become a bit too common for everybody to know this because I've been speaking about this for some time. Well, you're sitting here as a man or a woman, but you came here because a man and woman came together. Your mother and father exist within you. You being a woman or a man is just a surface thing, but you've taken it so seriously. And you go through a whole lot of circus. Just being a man or a woman, how much circus in the world? Forget about light and darkness, that's more complicated. Gender is the simplest damn thing. But how much struggle, how much social confusion, how many religions and scriptures have been written about this misunderstanding endlessly. This is just that because between light and darkness, you think they are two different worlds, because it looks like that. The day looks like one kind of world, this planet looks different during the day. During the night, it's a completely different world, but it is not, it's the same world. I think you get that point during twilight to some extent. This is why it's always important to wake up before the sun comes up, because you don't have to do anything. If you're just alert and looking, slowly the perception will go into you. This is why always in yoga, Brahma Muhurtam you should be up because twilight starts then. In twilight, if you're awake, you perceive that the differences that you have made out in your mind because of misperceptions of senses that you have settles within you. When that happens, when?
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 5, take proper action.
Karma means action. There are 4 types of action: physical, mental, emotional and energy. Of all these things, the energy action is the most important one and the most enduring one and the most liberating one if you do it the right way. If you do it the wrong way, the energy action, which is improper, can have far more impact upon one's life than the improper physical actions, improper mental actions, improper emotional actions. So what do I mean by improper energy actions? One thing is, unfortunately, I had to witness a few things which I did not wish to witness. Certain people trying to misuse a little flexibility in energy that came with certain practice of yoga or a certain initiation especially. There are some over-smart people that when you initiate them, when it's fresh, when they're bursting with energy, they want to use it for something else. They want to channelize it to impress their neighbors or to make some money out of it or in some way use it. What was offered to them for their well-being, they try to do something else that can happen. Or a better example would be, see, there are many ways you can perform negative action. One thing is, let's say you sat here and thought that somebody that you don't like must die, or you even thought how to kill them. It has a certain level of impact on you. On another level, you had a thought, but not just a thought, the strong emotion. Now it has a much deeper impact upon you. You acted upon this thought and emotion and you actually performed the action, then it has a much deeper impact on you. Now, you understand that if you perform these actions, there may be consequences, so you found another way. You found somebody who will do certain type of energy action through which the person that you don't like will die. There is an entire science like this. One Veda among the 4 Vedas is dedicated to this is called as Atharvana Veda, where it's about learning to use energies towards your benefit and other people's detriment. You've heard of words like black magic, voodoo and billi shunyam and whatever else you call it, where people have learned to use energies to cause harm to someone else. Once you energetically try to influence somebody for some benefit of your own, now this will be the worst karma because the impact of this goes very deep into you because you're employing your energies to do this. This is the reason why even to initiate you into a simple process like Shambhavi, I am asking you to take this step of being a mother to the world so that you never misuse this, you see everybody as yours. Because enhancement of energies has to come with a profound sense of responsibility. Enhancement of energies has to happen with deeper dimension of inclusiveness. Without inclusiveness, if you use energy, this will be the worst karma. So, those of you who find some dramatic changes happening in your life because of initiations, you must take care. You must take utmost care that you never try to use this ability to transform to do something else. Of course, some of you think you will do a great thing by healing somebody, by intervening in somebody's life in some other way. No, this will be the worst type of karma you perform because once you try to use your energies and still you are capable of anger, you are capable of drawing boundaries of what is you and what is not you, what is yours and what is not yours, when these things are still there, you should never ever try to do anything energetically because this will be the most impactful karma that you will do. This is the reason why even the basic practice of Shambhavi to initiate you, you must become a mother to the world. And this is also a fantastic way to beat your karma. If every moment of your life, if you live with an inclusive emotion of being a mother to the world, not discriminating between what is yours and what is not yours. Right now you cannot help discriminating what is you and what is not you, but at least what is yours and what is not yours, if you take it away, you have solved the karmic puzzle 90%, believe me, 90%. Of all dimensions of karma, you have solved that puzzle. Remaining 10%, I am there.
Rule number 6, don't demand respect.
Respect is not something that you ever demand in your life. Please don't ever do such a vulgarity that you demand respect. You can only earn it. You cannot demand it. The moment you demand it, it becomes vulgar. Yes or no? So you stand one step higher than somebody and you demand respect. Or the only stupid thing that you did is you came here a few years earlier than someone else and you demand that I'm senior. It must be happening in the college also. 1 year senior I am, you better respect me. Just 1 year ahead I joined the college and now I'm senior, okay? So, this is an unfortunate reality that's well established in the world, that in the name of religion, in the name of authority, in the name of parenthood, in many different ways, we have been trying to establish authority is the truth. No, authority is not the truth. Truth is the only authority. This is why, youth and truth. Truth is the only authority, nothing else is the authority. So if I ask a question, somebody freaks. See, if you ask a question, somebody freaks because they don't know the answer. Suppose you go, sit in an examination and look at the question paper, you don't know a damn thing, don't you freak? Just like that they're freaking, why don't you understand? Hello? So they gave you a question paper, you have no clue, do you freak or no? So they are also freaking. So you must understand and be little compassionate. When you ask a question, somebody freaks means obviously they don't have an answer. So you must be compassionate, considerate because they're your seniors. Okay? They came ahead of you, but they are no better than you, so they're freaking a bit. Please make way for them a little bit, what to do. They've grown a little bigger than you. But at the same time, there is no need for anybody to succumb to that. It's all right, there is no need to confront people. A question, first of all. See, a question is a tool. A question is a tool to dig little deeper, isn't it? Hello? But somebody is asking a question to prove a point, that's not good. So don't ask a question to your parents or to somebody else just to prove your point. No, ask a question because it's a genuine question. So people were asking me, Sadhguru, what kind of questions can we ask, what can we not ask? I said, even the dumbest question you have, if it means something to you, it means something to me. If it doesn't mean anything to you, don't ask such stupid things because it doesn't mean a damn thing to me either. But if it means something to you, maybe it's a stupid question, somebody thinks it's a stupid question, but it means something to your life, it means a lot to me. So, please make sure your questions are genuine, whether you ask a parent or a political leader or a spiritual leader, it doesn't matter who the hell you ask a question. When you ask a question, you must understand the purpose of asking a question is to expand yourself from what you know to enter a territory where you do not know something. That's the idea of asking a question. But you ask a question to prove them stupid, then maybe they're getting mad. You are entering their territory now. But you have to make sure in your life, because your life is not just about your life. How you conduct your life will determine the nature of this world, isn't it so? When you have such a responsibility, you have to ensure that truth is the only authority. Authority is not the truth. It doesn't matter whether it's parents or teachers or spiritual teachers, political leaders or God himself came down and he said something stupid.
You must be able to question him. That is the nature of this culture. See, even when those entities which we considered divine came, in India all we did is ask questions, endless questions. When Shiva came, his wife Parvati freaks him with 1,000,000 questions. When Krishna came, Arjuna asked 1,000 questions, questions and questions and questions. I must tell you this. We were trekking in Tibet, a group of people, almost from 42 different countries. So an Indian man who settled in United States wanted to ask a question. I said, you can ask questions. Immediately he raised his hand and he stood up. He asked a question which lasted over 8 minutes and it was going on. I said, see, this is too long a question. Then I told the others, because they were all looking like this, because they're from different nations, they can't understand this question. I said, see, this is a very Indian question. Question inside a question, inside a question, inside a question, inside a question. Indians are experts in this because they have 15,000 years of culture, they've crafted questions like this. It doesn't matter Shiva comes, Krishna comes, they want to bowl a googly to him. That's the whole intent. So I said, see, this is an Indian question, and I tried to explain to them what is an Indian mind and why it asks such questions. So much of culture. Then one Chinese lady, she said, Sadhguru, I was working at the United Nations, even there only Indians ask questions. We never ask questions, only the Indians were asking questions all the time. I said, that is India.
Rule number 7, be a creator.
On the go. You don't have to be on the go all the time. If life demands, people ask me, Sadhguru, how are you active like this? Because generally my schedule is anywhere between 18 to 20 hours a day, 7 days of the week, 365 days, non-stop. For many years it's going on. Why? Hey, I'm complaining and the guy is clapping about it. So people keep asking, how do you keep yourself like this, how do you do this? See, I'm essentially lazy. It's just that the situation in the world demands action. Left to myself, I would close my eyes and simply sit. I'm made like this, if I close my eyes, I can sit like this till I fall dead. Really. I have really no need for action, I'm not trying to keep myself busy. There's a lot to be done, so you're doing. People ask me, Sadhguru, what's your dream? What is your dream? I said, my dream is the day I'm unemployed, that's a great day. Because if I'm unemployed, it simply means everybody is doing fantastic. What more do you want? Dream fulfilled. So, action is not something that you decide. You just decide your intent. Action, the world will decide how much of what. I'm at these economic forums and stuff, I'm at the World Economic Forum. This guy, from the business schools in Harvard Business School, one professor comes, oh, you're that amazing tree planter. I said, no, I'm not a tree planter. He said, no, you planted those millions of trees. Yes, I did, but I'm not a tree planter. Asked me, then what do you do? I said, I make people flower. Not plant trees, but I'm planting trees because the goddamn trees are missing where they should have been. Where they should have been, they're not there. It's like this, two men were working on the street. One man is digging pits, behind him another man is coming and closing and going. Somebody else was driving by, they saw this ridiculous activity. One guy digs the pit, another guy closes the pit. So they stopped and said, hey, what are you doing here? Why are you guys working like this? One guy digging, another guy closing. They said, no, the in-between guy has gone on leave, he's the tree planter. He's not there, we're doing our work. So a lot of people are doing work like this, I'm doing my work. You have no work on this planet. If the planet needs work, if the world needs work, we will do it. Otherwise, why should I think this is my work? Sadhguru, what's your mission? So no mission, I'm just fooling around a bit. Because you have no business to have your own mission. Life has its own mission. In some way, if you can assist and serve that, that's about it. What is it that you have your own mission? Are you some kind of a tyrant? All missionaries are tyrants in some way, unknowingly. Yes, those who think they have a mission. There is no mission. What is needed you do, especially when you study in a business school and get certain competence to manage things or create things. You must create what is needed, not create some rubbish and push it on them. Yes? Yes or no? Yes. You must see how to make life better, how to solve situations which are problematic to a whole lot of people. You must look for solutions and solutions for the existing situations. And of course, there are experts who go on creating new problems. So you will never be short of problems, believe me. You just have to create solutions, not go on a mission mode.
Rule number 8, overcome loneliness.
You must decide, what is the highest value in your life, freedom or bondage? Please, I would like to hear that word. Oh, freedom. But if you are free, you feel lost. If you go into the mountains and you're totally free, that is, nobody around, nothing around, you're just in the empty space of the mountains, you don't feel free, you think you're lost. So to handle freedom, it needs a certain clarity and strength. Most people cannot handle freedom. They are always trying to bind themselves, but only talking, mouthing freedom all the time. If you really set them free, they will suffer immensely. So this is an evolutionary issue. In the sense, human beings are right now like this. A caged bird, if you keep a bird caged for a long period of time and then one day you took off the door of the cage, still the bird won't fly. From inside it'll protest that it's not free, but it'll not fly. Human condition is just that. For all other creatures, nature has drawn two lines within which they have to live and die, and that's what they do. But only for human beings, there's only bottom line, there's no top line, and that's what they're suffering. If their life was also fixed, like every other creature's life, they wouldn't be stressed, they wouldn't be anxious, they wouldn't be struggling how to handle their own intelligence. And that is what you're seeking unknowingly. You may seek it in the form of relationships, you may seek it in the form of profession, you may seek it in the form of nationality, ethnicity, community, God, heaven, hell. All you're trying to do is draw an artificial line which does not exist. Because freedom needs courage. Freedom needs a certain madness. If you're very sane, you cannot be free because you will go between the two lines of logic. To be free, it takes a lot of strength. That if you… First of all, what needs to happen if you want to be free is, do you understand that all human experience has a chemical basis to it? Hello? What you call as joy is one kind of chemistry, misery is another kind of chemistry, stress is one kind of chemistry, anxiety another kind of chemistry, agony one kind of chemistry, ecstasy another kind of chemistry. At least ecstasy, you know it's another kind of chemistry. I hear. So, your experience of life has a chemical basis to it. This is a most superficial way of looking at it. There are other dimensions to it, but for your understanding. Or in other words, what you call as myself right now, you're a chemical soup. The question is only, are you a great soup or a lousy soup? Yes or no? Right now, if you have a chemistry of blissfulness, if you close your eyes, it's fantastic, if you open your eyes, it's fantastic, if somebody is here, it's fantastic, nobody is here, it's very fantastic. Yes or no? but you have a lousy chemistry. If you look at them, if they smile at you, it's nice, not fantastic. If they look at you like this, suddenly it's a problem. If these people are happening just the way you want, your chemistry is reasonably balanced. If they do something that you don't like, boom, it goes somewhere else. So essentially, you have not looked at this mechanism, what is the basis of this, how it functions, how I can make it function at its highest level. Right now, let's say you're really blissed out like me. Do you care who is around, who is not around? If they're around, it's fantastic. They're gone, fantastic. Because your experience of life is no more determined by what you have and what you don't have, whether it's people or things or food or this or that. It is not determined by that. Once your way of being is not determined by anything outside of you, then there is no such thing as loneliness. But you will enjoy your aloneness because whether you like it or you don't like it, at this young age, it's a little difficult to understand this, whether you like it or you don't like it, within this body you're always alone, isn't it? Whether you do interaction or intercourse or whatever, still you're alone in this body, yes or no? Hello? If you don't learn how to handle this aloneness, you have not learned anything about life. This is the most beautiful thing. The most beautiful thing about life is, nobody can get here, it's just my space. Yes or no? Isn't this the most beautiful thing? Nobody can invade me. They can capture me, they can torture me, they can do so many things, but they cannot invade me because I have a space which is just my own. Isn't this the most wonderful aspect of your life? Don't suffer that. That is the most beautiful thing.
Rule number 9, live a life of joy.
We are thinking of happiness like it's some kind of a commodity or some kind of an attainment. No, when your life comes to ease, when you come to ease, happiness is a natural consequence. Coming to ease, what does it mean? There are many ways to look at this. Well, because I should not say look inward, you already put a condition on me. So, is it true that today, even medically we know, every human experience has a chemical basis to it? So what you call as peace is one kind of chemistry, happiness is another kind of chemistry, joy is another kind of chemistry, misery is another kind of chemistry, agony is one kind of chemistry, ecstasy is another kind of chemistry. Every human experience has a chemical basis to it. Or in other words, you are a very complex chemical soup. The question is only, are you a great soup or a lousy soup? If you're a great soup, you taste good, not for somebody, for yourself. When you taste very good for yourself, if you sit here, if you feel extremely pleasant within yourself because the soup is great, then people say you are happy. If you become very, very pleasant, people will say you're joyful. If you become super pleasant, people will say you're ecstatic. So, to make it very simple and understandable for most people, your chemistry needs to be altered. There's a whole technology with which we can create the kind of chemistry that you want. If I teach you how to create a blissful chemistry within yourself, your very chemistry is blissful and you will be blissful. When you're blissful, you will no more be in pursuit of happiness. That is the biggest mistake, that we are in pursuit of happiness. Your life has to become an expression of joy. When your life is an expression of your experience, then what you do not do will not determine the quality of your life. How you are within yourself will determine the quality of your life. I'm sorry, once again I use the word within, but chemistry is not within, it is still outside of you. But if you know how to make the right soup, then being joyful is not an issue, it's a natural consequence of that. So, we can teach you a technology, we can teach you a methodology with which you will know how to stir the right kind of soup within you. This is what I'm calling as inner engineering, that you engineer your chemistry in such a way that it's blissful by its own nature, not because of something. If you think you're going to squeeze happiness out of something or somebody, you will be disappointed because nothing will yield anything unless you have a chemistry of blissfulness within you.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is liberate yourself.
Karma, probably one of the most misunderstood words. For sure, it's become part of the English lexicon today, but misunderstood and misinterpreted in a million different ways. A range of things. The very way the nature of karma is just like that, its interpretations. The karmic structure is a very complex mess. But there are very, very descriptive stories in the Indian culture about the type of jewelry the courtesans used to wear. That is, very famous courtesans were covered in gold and diamonds. No clothes, only jewelry covered their body. Such complex jewelry that when the men who came to them, they had no clue how to take off this jewelry because it was such a complex web of chains. Try as hard as they did, but they cannot get this jewelry off. Jewelry is beautiful, but for a man whose mind is running riot with lust, this is a barrier. So, usually she encourages him to drink and drink, little more and little more, so that he sleeps and gifts her more jewelry and goes home. But when she wants to take it off, there is just one pin normally located at where our anahata is. This one pin, if she pulls, the entire jewelry falls down in just like that, it falls down. Karma is like this, it's a complex web of chains. Some of them, of course, decorated with diamonds, some are ugly, some are rusted chains, but chains and chains and chains. But there is just one single pin. Only because you are not able to consciously find the pin, the fundamental reason, let me tell you, the fundamental reason why there is a culture or there is a tradition of depending upon a guru for one's spiritual growth is just this, that you want him to pull the plug when the time is ripe. Because in this complex web of chains, you don't know where the pin is. Right now, if you try to find it, you can go on a search forever and not find it. And if you find it, just in case, if you find it, you will dismantle it in such a way that you will dismantle your very life. To dismantle it skillfully, that just the karmic aspect falls off and you exist as a liberated being, that takes lots of skill. It is for that skill that you come to your guru. It is your karma that you have to endure me. If you had figured it out yourself, you didn't have to bother about me. So, Sadhguru, when are you going to pull my plug? That means you're not ready yet. If you are in a state where you think your karma is a burden and you must get rid of it, you are not yet ready for it. If you come to a state where you have learnt how to transform every memory, conscious and unconscious, pleasant and unpleasant, beautiful and horrendous ones, everything into well-being. If you come to that state, then it'll be good for me to pull the pin. Now if you pull the pin because this is not liberation, this is an escape. There is difference between walking out of this body and committing suicide. They're two different things altogether. Committing suicide means you want to escape a difficult situation. Walking out of this means your term is over, your time is up, so they've released you. These are two different things completely. If you escape from the prison, you will have to run for the rest of your life. But if you're freed from the prison because your term is up, then you're a free man. That's a big difference. If you are very clear that what you're doing is significant for every life around you, other people's opinion means nothing.
But
I'm saying for 30 years plus, they've been saying the same things. They're not even creative, they're not able to come up with anything new. All right, same things they are saying. But they've not gotten anywhere because they have no substance. There's no substance to anything that they have said. So, it's unfortunate that they are in that state. But what I see is every daily mystic quote is there, daily quote. All these people are just waiting. One thing that they don't understand, suddenly all of them will get together and make the Twitter trend. I'm so glad, because every day they're reading my quotes, even people who are here are not reading. They're reading, okay. I am saying every day carefully they're reading my quote. The day they don't understand, they think I made a mistake. And boom, they'll go. I'm glad. I have worked in prisons, both in India and United States. I have worked with hardcore criminals who have come for murder, rape, worst possible things that a man can do. For those things they have come. And I've seen significant transformation in their lives simply because of 2 days or 5 days of contact with me. These guys who are continuously following me, I'm very confident one day they will be very transformed. I wish them the best. Human attention has shifted to many things that we could do that we are not able to do right now. But one large area which has been left unexplored is the human being itself. Whatever kind of technologies we develop, whatever kind of machines we build, essentially we can only think of doing something which is an extension of our existing faculties. See, if you were made like a tree that is rooted to one place, would you have thought of a bicycle? Hello? Only because you already have mobility, you thought about enhanced mobility. That evolved into many things. only because we can speak. We came up with a microphone and a telephone. If we had no such thing as speech, would we have thought of a microphone and a telephone? Because we can see, we have microscopes and telescopes. Every machine and every gadget we create is only enhancement of existing human faculty. We can see this far, but we want to see that far. We can speak this far, now we want to speak that far. We can hear this far, now we want to hear from somewhere else. Everything. There is no other way for a human brain or human intelligence to function. We will only think of how to enhance this. The purpose of enhancement is essentially a longing to enhance the quality, the content and the profoundness of our life. You don't have to eliminate the waste. Waste is very valuable. If you know, right now in this garden, they buy waste at a very a very exorbitant price because their waste goes into the public system. They have to buy waste from somewhere, they have to buy filth.
To fertilize.
Yes.
Yeah.
So whether you turn your filth into a fertilizer or you smear it on your face and walk around, that's your choice. This is why karma. So what kind of karma happened in my life till this moment is not always my choice. So many things have happened. But what kind of karma I perform right now in this moment is 100% my choice. Will I use this filth as manure and blossom into a wonderful fragrance, or will I smear it around me and walk around with filth? This is the choice everybody has. When unpleasant things happen to us, which happens to everybody in some way if you're living in the world, I'm saying, unless you dropped from somewhere else.
Right.
If you're living in this world, so many unpleasant things happen. Now, with these unpleasant things, do you become wise or do you become wounded? This is a choice. To exercise this choice, there must be a little space. When I say a little space, where is your memory stored? People think here, your brain has very little memory, okay? Every cell in the body carries 1 trillion times more memory than your entire brain.
Every cell in the body.
Every cell in the body. Because if I take one cell from you, we can, create you completely in a lab. That means what? Well, your parents, your father and mother gave you only one cell each, they were not very generous, all right? Only one cell each. See, a whole man came out of it.
Yeah.
So in that one cell, all this memory, head to toe, everything was there, isn't it?
Yeah.
No mistake. Texture of the hair, texture of the skin, the nails, the works, every detail, to the minutest detail, was it packed in that one cell or no?
Yeah.
Yes? So every cell in your body carries 1 trillion times more memory than your entire brain carries.
Wow.
So if you do not use that, if you just use one part of your body, then everything seems to be stressful, everything seems to be a struggle. Today everybody complaining about everything, everything is stressful. You are a toddler, you have stress of diapers. You are a teenager, you have hormonal stress. You're middle age, you have crisis. Your old age, geriatric stress.
Right.
All right, which is not stress, your entire life is stress. Tell them, okay, you die. Oh, that is enormous stress. So this is not because there is something wrong with anybody's life. It's simply because it's like, you have a car, it's supposed to go on 4 wheels. Try to drive on one, okay, one may look like too much. Try to drive on 2, well, within 10 miles your tires will burst. Because too much stress on one point, other things are not being used. This is all that's happening to human beings. In the yogic culture, first 8 years, or actually 8.5 years, is considered childhood. So these are not counted. Though Balavastha is up to 12, it's the 8.5 years where you're a real child. You know it from your own experience. After you're 8.5, only your parents thought you were a child, but you were secretly many things. Yes. Adults think that you are a child, but you know you are not one. Because your childhood in many ways ends at 8.5. So if you take two solar cycles, which is 24 years or little less than that, and add 8.5 years to it, it will become 32 and 3/4 or something like this. 32 years and 7 months or somewhere there. The exact calculations we can make, but it's nearly 33 years. So when these two cycles end, plus the balavastha, living that when it ends, it is a possibility. This is a time when your life could take on a different level of propulsion. If you have prepared yourself well, either with education or some skill or yoga or inner dimensions of your life, if you have prepared yourself on any of these things, that is the time when it can propel, or that is the time when it can start crashing. You know, in the Western societies, they talk about midlife crisis. It usually starts around 33, 34 years of age. Suddenly people don't know what to do with themselves, life getting meaningless. Or those who are successful, they find traction and suddenly they explode into different levels of success or well-being. All this can happen because within the system, it has completed a certain cycle. Either it can take off or it can crash. You can simply sit. If you learn to simply sit, you'll become tremendously intense. Right now, your energy is simply expended by doing unnecessary, endless activity. When you have so much mental diarrhea, how can you have energy? Suppose you have diarrhea, do you see how weak you feel? Yes or no? Right now this mental diarrhea, that's why people have no energy. They want to just eat and sleep all the time, because mental diarrhea, it's very exhausting. If you have physical diarrhea, you know how exhausting it is. Yes? This is also equally exhausting. People are sleeping 8 hours, 10 hours a day, not because they're working so much or their body is in such a bad state, it's just mental diarrhea. If you stop the mental diarrhea, there's enough energy to make this very, very intense. Now how do I stop mental diarrhea? If you have diarrhea, physical diarrhea, what is the first thing to do? Huh? What? Yes, run to the toilet, I know that. I'm saying as a corrective measure, what's the first thing you do? No, as a corrective measure, what is the first thing you do? First thing is stop eating, right? Yes or no? But diarrhea means in some way we've eaten something that the body doesn't want. It's trying to throw it out. Yes? You've taken something inside which the body doesn't like. It wants to throw it out. First thing is, stay away from food for some time. You eat bad food and then try to stop diarrhea, it's not going to work. So similarly, bad food for the mind is just this. You have gotten identified with things that you are not. The moment you get identified with things that you are not, mental diarrhea is inevitable. It's bad food for the mind. Now it will run endlessly, do what you want.
You do any damn meditation, you say Shiva, Rama, it's not going to stop. It's not stopped, isn't it? Because bad food is being eaten every day, you're getting identified with more and more things and you want to stop your mind, you do whatever kind of circus, it is not going to stop. If you disidentify with everything, if you understand what is you and what is not you, if you keep a little distance from that, mind will become still. If you want, you can use it, otherwise you can keep it. Now my hand is there, if I want I can move it, otherwise I can keep it. This is a useful hand. Suppose it starts jumping like this. You clearly know there is some kind of an ailment, isn't it? Yes or no? So if hand is jumping, you know it's an ailment. If mind is jumping, is it an ailment or no? Ah. The ailment has come because continuous wrong diet. You tell your mind that I am this, I am this, I am that, I am that. It's having diarrhea. You stop giving it wrong food. If you clearly see what… even if you do not know what is me, at least you know what is not me, isn't it? This much you do. Tonight before you go to bed, sit on your bed and sit down and discount everything that is not you. This house in which you're living, is this me? No. This loving parent or mother, father, wife or husband or child, they're wonderful, but is this me? No. Now these nice clothes I'm wearing, is this me? No. Now my body, I like it, but is this me? No. Now I'm having so many thoughts, is this me? No. Now I'm having wonderful emotions, is this me? No. Like this, everything that's not you, before you sleep, keep it down and go to bed. Tomorrow morning, you will wake up considerably more intense than today.
This happened in your school, maybe later in your university, later in your work. It's happening to people, maybe not everyone, but to a whole lot of people. Their commitment to success is weak. They want to succeed, they will take 3 steps, then something little interesting happens here, they will go away here, they'll go away there, they'll go away there. Hey, I want to live, huh? Their commitment to success is weak. Either situations around them in some way, situations can impede you from doing what you're doing very easily. Many times it happens to everyone. But when this happens, people weaken their commitment for their success. Maybe physically, they'll feel little weak, they will weaken their commitment to success. Maybe their emotions slosh around a little bit, they will weaken their commitment to success. This is very important right now. However long it takes, this virus, you must come out of this successfully. That means you must stay alive, that's an important part. And commitment to staying alive should not be slackened, no matter what happened. Somebody very dear to us passed away, all the more important we must live. People around us are all sick, all the more important we are healthy to take care of the people around us. So our commitment to success should not weaken because there is social drama going on, or physiological drama or psychological drama, whatever happens, your commitment to success should not weaken. That is what gets you across so many lines in our life, so many barriers in our life. So, what does success look like? What does it take? must understand, those who made any significant achievements in their life, they did not, I don't want to take any personal examples of anybody, I'm trying to avoid obvious things that are coming to my mind. Well, I know family and friends who always have their breakfast on time. And after breakfast, of course, they must have coffee. After coffee, of course, they must light up a cigarette and sit there nicely because they're trying to become peaceful. And then they will go to work, come back home exactly on time for lunch, eat lunch, rest for 1 or 2 hours, sleep, then evening have one tea and then smoke, and then again go to work. And 8 o'clock, 8:30, they're back home for dinner and then maybe other things, drink and this and that and whatever. Well, that's their priority. It's fine, I'm not complaining, it should not be that way. But those who have been very successful, either in music, sport, art, business, spiritual process, doesn't matter what, those people never know when they ate, when they slept, when they got afternoon rest. I've not seen such a thing in my life. So, those who are committed to being successful with whatever they're doing, one important aspect of their life is they're not settling down wherever it's a bit comfortable. Because comfort will happen when they lower you to in the grave, very comfortable you are, Let one human being honestly say, when you are with your most loving parents, however doting and wonderful they were to you, that you never felt this is not where you want to be. That is a dishonest human being. Because love gets tedious, somebody's fondness gets very tedious, comfort gets tedious. Because the nature of life is, it wants to constantly expand. If there is no room for expansion, it doesn't matter you are kept in a whatever, I won't use because everybody uses the word golden palace. I think golden palace is totally unaesthetic in my my visual perception, I hate golden palace. But whatever is the most wonderful palace, or as you say Shangri-La, whatever, it'll get tedious. All the heaven-bound people, they don't know how bored they will be within 3 days in that place of goodness. So I'm saying it doesn't matter, it's not because there's something wrong with your parents. They may be most wonderful people, but the very nature of a human being is such. Only if you're a pet animal, if you have reduced yourself to that, you're just happy with the meals that you're getting and somebody is fondling you once in a way and you're happy with that. For that you must be a pet animal, you should not be born as a human being. Once you're born as a human being, it is natural wanting to break barriers. So when you're young as a child or a teenager, you think barriers means they're all physical. Before you understand, the barriers are not really physical. Whether you build your own house or you live in your parents' house or you live in a slave master's house, the house and walls are not the barrier. It is all within us. Before you realize that, or how soon you realize that, will lead to either transformation or frustration. Don't utter the word freedom because freedom is a consequence. It's something that you have to earn. It doesn't come as a philosophy. In 60s, we thought it's a philosophy. If you live responsibly, you will see freedom will come. When I say responsibly, not in the sense of civic responsibility, if you retain your ability to respond to life without any prejudice, without any restriction, you will see you will become free. Your ability to respond, if it is unlimited, it is freedom.
The notion of the difference between pain and suffering I thought was very useful.
See, pain is physiological, it's there. If there's no pain, most people would not even know how to protect themselves. See, just because there's no pain in this, see what all you have done to it. Isn't it? See, there's no pain in this, so that's why you took it off. If there's no pain in your nose, maybe you would have taken it off.
Right.
Because there are many advantages. You will take in about 22% extra oxygen if you just remove this one thing, contraption. Wherever there is no pain, people are messing with it like crazy, isn't it? They call this hairstyle, they call it so many things.
Yeah.
Suppose there was no pain in the entire body in Los Angeles, people would pull out their stomach bag and you think they wouldn't do it?
No, they probably would.
Only pain is helping them to preserve themselves, isn't it? So pain is good. There's no physiological pain. Most people would not know. I hear in United States there's one group, they call themselves something, I forget that word. They're actually cutting their fingers off, their hands off on the video.
Whoa.
They're posting it online. There's a group like that.
Whoa.
Can you imagine this?
No.
In spite of so much pain, if there was no pain, almost everybody would have cut themselves off in the name of fashion, they would have cut themselves into ribbons.
Wow.
So pain is a good thing physically, because that is your preservation, self-preservation mechanism. But suffering is something that you do in your mind. So pain that happens in your body, you take it in your mind and multiply it 1,000 times or 1,000,000 times, depending on how capable you are or how stupid you are, and suffer it 1,000,000 times over. Right now, most human beings are like this. What happened 10 years ago, they can still suffer. What may happen day after tomorrow, they already suffer. They are not suffering life, they think they're suffering life. They're not suffering life, they are suffering the two most fantastic faculties that human beings alone have, a vivid sense of memory and a fantastic sense of imagination. Why does one person need, well, by prescription these days, 8 hours, is it?
7 to 8 hours. 7 hours sleep.
Okay, 7 hours. And why another person can do with half of that? See, one thing is, as we already went through, the very physical body that you carry is just the food that you've eaten, isn't it? You are looking at food only as protein, vitamin, mineral like this. But we're talking about a food chain, that means they're all different kinds of lives. What we consume is another form of life. Every animal consumes another form of life. This is the way the food cycle is created. So in what condition that life is will determine in what condition your life is in many ways. So if food appears in front of me, if I just look at it, people have prepared it with elaborate care, if I just look at it, I say no. He says, no, Sadhguru, this girl, this lady has brought it, she's a very good cook, she's very tasty. I just look at it and say no. Simply because it's not alive enough for me. It may be tasty, but it's not alive enough for me. If it's not alive enough, I will not consume. If you're just conscious of this one thing, you will see your sleep quota will go down. Another thing is, most people are eating at least 50%. 50% means 100% more than what they need to eat. Yes, you will do one thing, as an experiment, just try this. Whatever you're eating, cut it down by 50%. If you're eating, let's say, 2 kilograms of food, cut it down to 1 kilogram and eat variety of foods. You will see you will neither drop weight, nor will you become weak, nor will you become less energetic. Only thing that'll happen is, your sleep quota will go down. Because you're putting so much food to generate the same amount of energy, you're eating more by compulsion. of liking the taste or simply by compulsion of filling yourself up, now the body has to process so much food to create so much energy. This extra processing is taking a toll on the system. The amount of impurities that are there in the food will also determine how much inertia you generate in the body. Let's understand it this way, in terms of physical terms. What sleep means is inertia. Right now you're dynamic, this is life, inertia sets in. When inertia goes beyond a certain point, that's death. But sleep is a certain kind of death, but it is offering you rest. So restfulness is very important. What is being restful means is, if you sit here, if you're at total ease, you will see the body is naturally restful. Have you noticed on a particular day, you are very happy, on that day you don't need much sleep or food, have you noticed this? That's all you have to do. If you remain very joyful every moment of your life, the food will come down, sleep will come down naturally. I don't know, I never looked at life as a series of mistakes, learning from that, I don't look at life like that. Well, have you made some dumb decisions here and there? Of course. But I wouldn't see them as mistakes, I just see them as part of growing up and becoming more mature, because enlightenment is one thing, you see things clearly, but still operating in the world you need wisdom. Wisdom you have to earn it with experience, there is simply no other way for that. Today it has become fashionable with all these management gurus and all saying, you must learn from your mistakes, you must learn from mistakes. That means you must keep on doing mistakes. I don't believe that you must learn from your mistakes. I would rather live a life where I don't do any mistakes because life is so brief, you do a bunch of mistakes and then you will learn, and where will you use it? In the grave? It's too late. So
learn from other people's mistakes, yeah.
Yes, of course. That is what being human means, that we can learn from other people's experience, from history we can learn. We don't have to do all those things once again. And especially you are from the aviation state, if you are trying aviation or if you're trying skydiving or something, if you don't do things right the first time, well, that'll be the last time. Unfortunately, in many ways, not just in the way that I said now, in many different ways, I would say 70% of illnesses on the planet, all kinds, are self-created. Even if you get an infection, there is a way. If you keep yourself in a certain way, physically and mentally, the virus and the bacteria will not work the same way as it works upon somebody else. If you set yourself like this, no matter what's happening, anyway, I have to go and do this, this and this. There's no break from that. The last 29 years, I have not been able to cancel one program because I'm running temperature, I got a cold, I got this, I got that. It doesn't matter what's happening, what you have to do, you anyway have to do. You can't turn back on that. Either out of your commitment or you have a boss like that. One way or the other, if it happens, then you will see, you will not at all fall sick so often. Because if you have temperature, you still have to go. If it's summer, you still go, right? Now, a lot of people don't go. It's a little hot outside, they don't go and work. Little cold outside, they don't go and work. A little raining, they won't go and work. A snowflake, they will not go and work. This is just weather. So for every change in weather, if you have the comfort of covering yourself in a blanket and lying down, once you create that, your body will learn to fall sick as often as possible. If you just keep it this way, it doesn't matter what it is, anyway I have to go and do what I have to do, you will see your body will just bounce back as quickly as possible, even if it gets the worst kind of infections. So you just have to set the necessary conditions for health, necessary incentives for health. both for yourself and your children if you have them. Do not set incentives for sickness. You're paying too much attention to everything around you, not enough attention to this one. But the quality of your life is essentially determined by how you carry this one. Yes or no? This moment, what kind of clothes you're wearing, what kind of car you parked outside, what kind of home you live in does not determine the quality of your life. This moment, how joyful are you feeling within yourself determines the quality of your life, isn't it so? Nothing has been done about it. You think it'll happen in consequence, and you're setting impossible goals for your happiness. If I have to be happy, my wife should be like this, my husband should be like that, my children should be like this, the world should become some other way. Well, these are impossible conditions you're setting for your happiness and peacefulness. Now that you have compromised yourself to peace, why I'm saying compromise yourself to peace is because a lot of people have given up aspirations for being ecstatic or blissful. If I'm just peaceful, it's enough. Even the so-called spiritual leaders are going about and saying peace is the highest goal in your life. Peace is not the highest goal in your life. If you want to enjoy your lunch today, you must be peaceful. Yes or no? If you're not even peaceful, there is nothing in your life that you can do in a worthwhile way. To be peaceful essentially means this, that you're not messing your mind. To be peaceful means that your system is at ease. You know how to conduct your mind, you know how to conduct your emotions, your body and your energies. You are peaceful. It is not a rocket technology, it is the most basic thing. You have a dog at home, you give him his food, he sits peacefully. Maybe not ecstatic, but peacefully. Many times they're ecstatic also. Yes? If your dog is able to sit peacefully, oh, he doesn't have to run my industry. That's not the point, he's got his own stuff going. See, it has nothing to do with the external activity that you're doing. It's got something to do with the internal systems as to how they're functioning. Essentially, it means neither your body, nor your mind, nor your chemistry, nor your emotions, nor your energy are taking instructions from you. They're doing their own thing. Once your machine is not in your control, being peaceful is impossible. I'll tell you, you get into your car, and now you go there and you want to turn this way, you do this to the steering, it goes this way. Can you peacefully drive this car? Can you? No. Anxiety is natural, isn't it? This is what has happened to your vehicle. It's out of control. You've never done anything to find out where the steering wheel is, first of all. This is not that simple as a car, this is a super computer. Now the problem is most people have not even bothered to find the keyboard. They think if they do this, somehow it'll work. When you're given such a highly sophisticated machine, if you do not conduct it properly, it will cause many problems to you. By accident it's working. I want you to know this is made this way. If you hold your hands like this, it'll breathe one way. If you just turn it around, the very way you breathe, the breathing pattern itself changes in your lungs. You can try it if you want when you have the time. This way, this way. I'm saying everything that you do, fundamental changes are happening in this machine because it's such a sophisticated machine. It's more than a touch screen. If you just wish it, it will happen. When you have such a sensitive and sophisticated machine and you are operating like a blacksmith, then being peaceful seems to be difficult. Peace is not the highest goal in your life, it is the most fundamental requirement. Don't ever set peace as the highest goal. If you do that, you will only rest in peace. You must see, to be peaceful is the first thing in your life, isn't it? If you want to do anything sensibly in your life, if you want to conduct any situation in your life sensibly, to be peaceful and happy is fundamental. Pleasantness is the choice, isn't it? So why is it so much unpleasantness is happening in human experience? Because we never took charge of the inner dimension. We believe by fixing the outside, everything is going to be okay. In the last 100, 150 years, with the advent of science and modern technology, we have fixed too many things on the outside. If you fix any more, there won't be a planet left. Yes? Definitely, this has brought much convenience and comfort to our lives. In every way, we are the most comfortable generation ever. You agree with me? I know you have series of complaints about how things are not okay, but we are the most comfortable generation ever before on this planet, isn't it so? But we cannot say we are the most joyful generation on the planet, we are the most loving generation on the planet, we are the most blissed out generation on the planet, definitely not. We are complaining like crazy about everything, like never before. This is because we fixed the outside. Comfort and convenience has happened, well-being has not happened. If your interiority was handled by you consciously, you would definitely keep this in a blissful state. So is bliss the goal of life? No. Bliss is a necessary condition for life to flower to its full potential, otherwise it will remain constrained.
Because you made it this far in a video, I want to celebrate you. Most people start and don't finish. Most people never actually follow through. Most people say they want something, but they don't ever do the work to actually get it. But you are different. You are special. Believe Nation, you made it here all the way to the end, and I love you. So as a special celebration, if you put a hashtag believe down in the comments below on this video, I will showcase you and celebrate you somewhere on the screen in a future video because you are awesome. For 10 more amazing rules from Jay Shetty, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
We all have these desires and we all keep fulfilling these desires. We have this wrong concept of happiness. Let me work hard, let me get all the money, let me buy all of that stuff, let me get all the phones, let me have those palaces, let me have my dream house.